A very good afternoon to you, Debbie.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank you. I just want to clarify for those who don't know, you live as if you were a trans woman, but you also accept that you are a man biologically, and I'm happy to use whichever pronouns I choose, and I choose the biological and grammatically correct ones, and you're happy with that because, frankly, you know, why wouldn't you be? But no, just so people understand the context there. Extraordinary headline, new trans rules go too far, says Labour deputy leadership frontrunner. Now, I think most people with jobs and lives, and frankly, anyone who's even got, you know, a Netflix log on, will not know who is running for the deputy leadership of the Labour Party after Angela Rayner had to step down. But it's Lucy Powell and Bridget Phillipson. Bridget Phillipson is still the Education Secretary. She's the favourite candidate for for Keir Starmer's leadership. Lucy Powell got sacked as Commons leader, basically not being very good, but she's being considered the leftist alternative, and she's by far the favourite, it would appear, in that contest. Now, both women, I think, have rather questionable views on the trans issues when it comes to women's rights. But Lucy Powell has appeared to criticise the Equality and Human Rights Commission and their guidance on trans issues. And it's advised, in line with the Supreme Court ruling from April, that workplaces must provide single-sex spaces based on biological sex. She says these new trans rules, she says, are, quote, not right. She says, I think we've got some of the language not right on this, and particularly around some of the guidance that's coming forward. She says, I really strongly feel like we need a robust and transparent parliamentary conversation about that, because when we're looking at applying the law as parliamentarians, we should have a say on that, and that's something I'll be pushing for as well. I mean, it's a word salad of nothing nonsense, but what does she think is not right about a woman's toilet being only for women?
Well, when it comes to language, I presume she's not talking about having a Welsh translation for use in Wales. It seems to me that, like too many other politicians, she's caught between conflicting groups and she's trying to please everybody all of the time. She can't do that. As a politician, she needs to show some leadership on this,
yes.
as others do, and say, quite frankly, we all know the difference between men and women. Let's face it, if 30 years ago somebody had said that Parliament needed to have a vote on who uses the women's toilets and who uses the men's toilets, we would just...
Well, if that was done, you know, in a satirical comedy, show, we'd all go, God, what a mad world that would be. Hello, welcome to 2025.
Yeah.
And the idea that any parliamentarian and Parliament itself should waste any time on that is mind-blowing, when there's quite a lot of stuff that does need doing.
Well, quite, you know, it's just madness that Parliament's getting involved in this. We all know the difference between men and women, and for time immemorial, human beings and human societies have been able to make this distinction. Yeah. We still have that capability, and politicians just need to leave human beings to get on with it, as we've always done in the past.
Well, indeed, but the argument from the trans rights lobby is, well, you should leave trans people to get on with it and let them choose the bathroom or the changing room or the women's refuge or the prison cell that they feel most comfortable with. And again, as campaigners, from famous ones like JK Rowling down to other people busy losing their jobs for saying this, saying, well, no, that's not the point of single-sex spaces.
Yeah, and it just elevates the rights of the individual above the rights of the group. There's a wider issue about human rights legislation in any case, where it promotes the rights of the individual and ignores the rights of the wider group. And perhaps that's gone far too... It's been pushed too far in one direction, and this is symptomatic of that wider problem.
I mean, do you mind me asking, I'm sure I've asked you before, Debbie, what you do in your workplace or when you're out and about at the shopping centre, where you're presenting as if you're a woman but you're a man, before the Supreme Court ruling, since the Supreme Court ruling, has that changed anything? What do you choose to do?
Well, the Supreme Court ruling didn't make any difference for me. At work, we've got a mixture of provision. I work in a school and we've got individual staff cubicles dotted around the place, so I use those. And when I'm out in town, I know which coffee shops have which small coffee shops have the individual cubicles for everybody. It doesn't take a lot of research to actually work that out and make things work for me.
And you take that upon yourself as something that you do, so you don't impose how you want to live your life on other people, particularly, say, girls in girls' toilets.
Well, that's right. The argument I make against me using women's spaces, because sometimes women think I'm being ridiculous, but I've often said is that if you let me in there, then it's much harder for you to say no to the next person who says, you let Debbie in, why not me?
Exactly. While people will want to be, respectful and kind and understanding, as you say, and then someone who's blatantly, obviously not someone who is who really believes that they are living in the, as the opposite gender, will then say, well, I've got a right to come in, and there's a reason why we kept men out of women's spaces. There was a reason why we wanted single-sex toilets, and frankly, most men, 99% of them, don't want to be in the same toilets as women anyway. It is extraordinary, isn't it? But I find it fascinating. You've got two women in this debate in Labour who are sort of this is coming up as an issue, and it's almost like they're competing to give away women's hard-won rights and girls' hard-won safety. Bridget Phillipson's the Education Secretary. I simply have not heard her say, since that Supreme Court ruling or before, every single school, single-sex toilet provision, primary school, secondary school, absolutely nothing to discuss. You've got till, next September, she should have said in April, get it sorted, otherwise you'll be breaching the law. Why has she not done that?
Well, presumably this is a political decision, and it's the worry about upsetting people. And in politics, if you've two groups and you please one and upset the other, the group that you upset is going to cause you more grief than you get thanks from the other group. Yeah. So the result is just kick the can down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask you also about JK Rowling and her battles with her ungrateful little pipsqueak no-mark, Emma Watson, along with the boys who were big stars of the Harry Potter films? She made these young actors at the age of 14 into multi-millionaires for life, can do whatever they want with their lives. As she made it very clear in a long post she wrote on social media, she doesn't expect them to agree with her views. They're not required, because they're in a film that she wrote, to agree with any of her political views. But she has been, pretty upset by them, in particular Emma Watson, basically coming in for the attack, believing to have referred to JK Rowling as a witch, and various other comments about her views. And at a time when JK Rowling was facing death threats, rape threats to her family and to herself, massive security needed, over simply stating the most, reasonable, kind views about the need for women's rights to be protected versus trans rights that were trampling on them. She's basically called her out and said, look, some of us understand these needs for women because we weren't all multimillionaires at 14. What did you make of that debate and that battle of war of words?
Well, I feel for JK Rowling. She's put so much into this, and she's defended the rights of other women. And she just sounds totally exasperated with people who really are now old enough to know better, and who have given her so much grief, attacked her in so many unpleasant ways. And in her position, I can totally understand how exasperated she is with the situation. She's done nothing wrong in this position, but taken so much flack from other people.
Yeah, indeed. Debbie Hayton, I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much. Author of Transsexual Apostate: My Journey Back to Reality.